There's nothing like cracking that cellophane and pulling that record out. It just smells great.
Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Non-stop hardcore energy.
I love the show, guys. You're awesome.
Unlike any other.
With your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bodfather.
Man, this stuff rocks.
Hey, this is Riley Green from Forum Obscura, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour. The views and opinions of the guests do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of BODS Mayhem Hour, its staff, affiliates, or sponsors. Parental discretion is advised. Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I'm your host, John the Bod, aka the Bodfather, and as always, I'm bringing you guys and gals awesome interviews. Today, it's an honor and a privilege to have Riley Green. He's the head writer at Forum Obscura. Forum Obscura is an independent magazine dedicated to bringing you the latest interviews, news, reviews, and more with artists, bands, and music pioneers. So, Riley, what's going on, my man?
Man, not a whole lot, dude. I've been taking a break this weekend just because I've been like cranking out the reviews like crazy, but it's been nice just to like take a little chill and let everything kind of soak in. I like to like look back at the website because I feel like I get so much done so fast that I don't have a chance to realize how much I'm actually putting on there, but it's filling up pretty well.
Yeah, you don't realize how much work you do until you go back and look. It's like, oh my God, like I've been telling you, I've got so many interviews to post. It's like, I need to just take a couple of weeks to get those out, then go back hard to it again. But it takes up your time, that's for sure.
Yeah, seriously. I've had to tell people just to kind of pump the brakes on asking for reviews just because I don't have time to fit them in. I can't forget about all the ones that I've already told that I'll review.
Mm-hmm. What led Forum Obscura to be creative, man? Who got the ball rolling? What was the ideal and how did this come about?
I think my uncle just likes to be super extracurricular, and like this started without me completely. It started with just him and a buddy of his. And I guess they needed help like spicing up the writing and getting like syntax errors worked out and whatnot, because he's been living in Thailand for a super long time and his buddy was too busy to edit everything. So I figure, I'm sitting in America, so English is pretty secondhand to me. I just looked everything over and started helping. But I think he just kind of took everything that he likes, and decided to put it in a publication. I'm not sure he thought about it being as big as it is, but people ended up really liking it. So we're trying to take it as far as possible,
Oh yeah, sure. Keep reaching outside, man, and keep on that grind for sure. Yourself and your uncle run Forum Obscura. Will you add more people eventually, or have you guys even talked about this yet?
We haven't really talked about it yet. Like I said, we're not sure how big we want it to be, but it'd be awesome to add people to it. I mean, I'm learning how to do reviews a lot better, but having somebody that was good at reviews would be nice, because I'm kind of using the same questions a lot just because, man, I don't really know what to ask people. I wouldn't say I have a ton of experience in the music scene. I mean, like I kind of grew up in it and I've been involved in like stuff that's more around Dallas. I mean, we do have a metal scene and a rock scene here, but like I'm not really super involved with it. Had some friends in metal bands, but that's probably the extent. I was like deep in the EDM and like jam band stuff. Like we were doing an EDM magazine as well, and when the third guy that was helping us kind of bowed out, we kind of liquidated that whole thing.
Yeah, it sucks when a member of the group goes away, because that's more stuff added to you. But think about me. I've been doing this for 12 years. 12 years, man. And my suggestion to you is research and keep, just, I don't have the same questions, but I spice it up every now and again. And it's really hard to come up with different questions for every band, because it's kind of the same status quo. It's like mix and match questions, add, subtract, and go back to what you had on it, ask on this one and just do that. That's what I do.
Right. I've been lucky enough, because like nobody answers every question to the fullest, right? They pick questions they like the most and they answer those really well. And they give you one or two sentences on the other ones. So I do delete a lot and I kind of like spice it up and make it better. But I feel like after 3 or 4 more interviews, people are going to notice that it's like, these are the same fucking questions, man.
I mean, what can you do? I mean, I don't know what else they want us to do. I mean, it's not like we're going to dive in their personal life. Go, hey, how's your new dog doing? And stuff like that. So,
right. Yeah, seriously. I mean, you're right. They are all doing like similar things. They're all musical artists. So that's just a range of questions you can ask them.
But now when you have like artists and stuff, like actual people that do art, it's kind of the same thing, add, subtract, and it's all the same stuff.
Right. I feel like it's easier to ask artists questions just because like there's a million questions you can ask about art. I guess I can just think of more questions than I can for bands, but
yeah. Right now, you guys have a Battle of the Bands contest going on. Let's talk about that because this is big what you guys are doing, especially help these folks out. And you guys need to be taking advantage of this and participate in this for sure.
Oh, definitely, man. Actually, the deadline's coming up on April 13th. So like here in 6 days, we're going to close the, bringing in like new additions to it. And we're going to start doing the judging soon. The judging is going to be done by like general public on Forum Obscura. It's going to be all voting. You can go listen to all the tracks and figure out what you like the best and vote for it. And then the finalists are going to be judged by my uncle and I and a few other probably members of not Forum Obscura, Metal Inc. that are just, bigger music buffs and they actually play metal music. So it's kind of a good idea to get some of those ears on there and get their ideas. But the coolest thing about it is the winner is going to have a whole feature in Forum Obscura issue 3, going to be on Metal for the Masses, Metal Chopping Block. A lot of big notice for the winner for sure.
Now you said April 13th. Did you mean May 13th?
I meant May 13th. Yep.
I got you, my brother. I was like, wait, he means May 13th. May 13th, folks, May 13th. And again, all you bands out there, you need to be taking well advantage of this because this could help you out tremendously because you're going to get interviewed from Metal to Masses. And if I was, brought in this, you'd been interviewed on here too. But we'll work on that later on. There's always stuff later on down the pipes. So definitely take advantage of this because any help that any of the bands are looking for, take it. This is your opportunity. Take it.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, throw your hat in the ring for sure, man. What's the worst that can happen,
Yeah, you just lose it, move on. I mean, that's happened to the best of them. So, So did the pandemic allow you guys to get more interviews and reviews for Forum Obscura, or did it kind of set you guys back a little bit?
Man, I think honestly, it's weird to say, but I think the pandemic's kind of given us like a little spark to get started. Just because so many musicians use the pandemic as just times to like get super passionate about their music and make new stuff. And also the pandemic fueled their music in kind of like, darker ways too, and just made it super intense and fun to write about. I love finding all the different albums that people wrote during their time of like super, like, trying to think of the right word, I guess solidarity, right? And they just like can't see anybody else. And this is just like the purest, rawest thoughts they could have thought of. And they just put it down. I think that's really awesome. It's been giving us a lot of material to write about, I would say.
I'd like to see some of this stuff to actually come out because we don't know where their mind's going to be in like a year or two. If another album comes out that they're working on, especially if these songs are going to see the light of day. I mean, they may not even make the light of day. And I've heard someone tell me they've got 3 and 4 albums already ready to go.
Wow. That's crazy. I mean, yeah, dude, it's crazy how much work you can get done when you literally can't do anything else, like you realize how much of your day was actually like going outside and interacting with people. It kind of makes you like take a look at yourself and you kind of have to get something done, right?
Yeah, now look at today's technology. You can record your stuff, send it out via email, and say versus say, I don't know, 20, 30 years ago, this would not even been possible at all.
Right. I would say I barely even talk to people in person with Forum Obscura just because it's mostly an online publication minus our physical quarterly magazine.
Mhm.
So I pretty much live at my computer talking to bands and reviewing stuff and writing everything down. I honestly wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah.
The pandemic didn't affect me too much. I mean, I do love going to shows, but that's about it.
Riley, if you can recall, how was your first interview or review? Were you nervous? Was it what was it a review or was it an actual interview for you?
It's actually it's kind of like more of a period of time where I didn't really know what I was doing too much. I mean, I wanted it to be super personal, so I would reach out to the person and like try to have a conversation with them and like, get to know some stuff. But I mean, realistically, dude, in this day and age, people are fucking busy. Like, just most people just aren't going to respond, and like they'll try to be nice because you're writing something about them, but really, like they're trying to get other things done. They don't have 30 to 45 minutes to have a chat with you on Facebook or Discord or whatnot, So that was probably the one thing I did wrong, that I had to like look at myself, because nobody was telling me that it was wrong, right? I just had to realize that, like, hey, dude, you're wasting your own time. Like, if they wanted you to know, it would be in their bio probably. So, I mean, yeah, just go read their bio on Bandcamp, and if it says nothing, make something up. Hopefully they'll like it.
Toughest interview you had that was very hard to get answers to your questions, or your toughest review to give your honest opinion about?
Dude, I would say I hadn't been interviewed ever like on a podcast until I was on Three Nigma Media's with Norm, and he's like super crazy busy with kids and his band and everything, so he hasn't posted it yet. But I was wicked nervous for that. I got up from my chair after I was done, and like my whole back was coated in sweat. It's like, whoa. I'm just not good at like talking about myself, really. After being on a few podcasts, I've kind of like loosened up, just kind of like, you got to realize that this is something you really like to do. So if you can't talk about it, then like, what's wrong, right?
Mm-hmm. What's the best interview or article that the site has done so far, in your own opinion?
Dude, that's like picking your favorite kid.
Exactly.
This is a tough one. All right. Okay. Well, man, I have a lot of favorites. Like, I love the underground bands that are just like grinding it out and keeping on going. I talked to Sadistic Force, or James from Sadistic Force, a little bit, and like it's just really neat to see somebody who's actually, well, not actually doing more stuff, but like they have a lot of live shows. They're really busy. He has a lot of practices. He took the time to sit down and talk to me. I think it's those people that like meet me at that lower level, right, and actually like sit down and try to talk to me before I review them. Those are my favorites. But if I had to pick just one, of course, I think listening to the Obsidian Resurrection really like it got me back into metal music again, I would say, just because I listen to a lot of lighter stuff and like I would say like hippie jam band music, but the symphonic elements that they added kind of helped me get back on the train, and I like listen closer to it just because I'm reviewing it, like listening to it 3 or 4 times. And these were demos that they had. And they were like, these are demos. They kept telling me like, don't define our sound based on these, blah, blah, blah. And like, I listened to them multiple times. Like, this is great. Like, I mean, if it gets better, that's awesome. But I would say that was my favorite one to write, just because it's been so long since they did that music and they're still passionate about it. I think that was really cool.
You said that you just completed an article that you've been working on since this forum came out. Let's talk about that a little bit. What was so difficult? Was it, man? Was it just that you had so much going on, you had to put it to the side, or was it just not actually finding the right words for it to give a good review?
I just haven't written anything that long in a really, really long time. Like, I feel like I just kind of ripped pieces of my soul out and chunked it into that story. Like, It's a creative, like nonfiction short story. It's about 21 pages. It's a little sci-fi based, but it's going to go out in parts in the magazines just because, I mean, how would we fit a 20-page story in that magazine, right?
Jeez, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
My God, 21 pages. God, Riley.
Dude, it's taken a really long time. Like, as I was finishing it yesterday, I just had this dumb smile on my face because I was just like, yes, yeah, dude. Like, it has some semblance of being done, right? Like, it's not completely finished. I'm still sending it out to a few like closer friends and people that actually have time to read it because
Sure.
most of my close friends don't have time to read it. But I'm trying to get some feedback on it just before I do actually put it in the magazine. I think the first couple parts are finished for sure, but I really need to work it out.
How much growth have you seen from your first review or interview up till now on the site, man? How much growth have you seen from yourself personally as far as reviewing and writing and things like that?
Dude, quite a bit, I would say, just because I've had to do so much research and just like ask people like Josh from MetaLink about music jargon and stuff like that. I'll like try to describe a sound with random words and be like, so what do you call this sound? This wheedly deedly sound this guy's doing.
Weedly deedly.
Right. Or like the chugs, there's a lot of different, I guess, musical jargon words that I've tried to pull offline to help spice up the articles because I was using a lot of the same words to describe every band.
Go Ned Flanders, Oakley dokley.
Right.
I mean, it comes with the territory. You get that writer's block and you just have to step away and just say, okay, wait a minute. Let's clear everything out. Let's just restart.
Right. Yeah. Before I took this weekend break, I cranked out 5 reviews. And I mean, they're still sitting in drafts on the WordPress page just because we're trying to funnel them out slowly. We don't want to like assault people with 5 different reviews all.
Yeah. You don't want that oversaturation to be like, good God, man. Just, okay, can we take a break and do one next week or something other? Because you don't want to oversaturate everybody with this stuff.
Right. I mean, who's going to read 5 reviews back to back? Seriously. I mean, one for sure. I mean, honestly, at this point in time, not a lot of people read. So
yeah,
we're thinking about moving on to doing some like recorded newsletters.
Yeah.
It's because, I think triple the amount of people will watch a video opposed to reading an article, right? Which is unfortunate. But I think once you've kind of cemented the fact that like you do come out with good material, people will read 2 or 3 paragraphs because the reviews aren't super long. Like it's not like you're reading a scientific journal,
This is why I do 2 podcasts a week, because I feel like if you do say like 3 or 4, then it's just way too much.
Yeah.
Start out, I'll do one on Monday and then give them a break, then look forward to Fridays, and there you go. There's another one. So
that's a good way to do it. It gives them something to look forward to. That's what I'm trying to adopt, a kind of schedule for the reviews, because I'm kind of like burning all the material that I'm coming up with, because I'll come up with it in spurts, but like I don't need to release it in spurts.
Yeah. And you want to keep them in the can too, because you want to keep something there just in case if you don't have nothing for the next week or 2, save it to release it, then get something else to go. It's hard to stay ahead of yourself, man. It's very hard right now.
Yeah, I feel kind of like in the weeds right now with the workload I have sitting on my like to-do board and whatnot. But I mean, I'll work on it real slowly.
Do you get more excited about interviewing indie bands versus say national acts? Do you get more excited about those bands?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, they'll sit down and talk to me, like I don't feel like a national act will sit down and talk to me by any means. They just don't have the time. Like, I mean, I can't slight them for that, but it's cooler to sit down and like chat with the bros and have like more like friendly talk, just like dudes sitting around chatting instead of like you were reviewing somebody or interviewing somebody of importance sort of thing.
Now you mentioned that issue 2 will be released soon. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, man. I think here in like a week, we're going to start piecing it together. It's going to be the first magazine I've ever pieced together. The first one my uncle did by himself. So this will be new territory for me. I'm really excited to learn like how to format it and all that stuff. It's actually like surprisingly cheaper than one might think to print a magazine. Like per issue, I would say the more you print, it's like $3 or $4. So I mean, it's not a whole lot of investment, which is really nice, and you get like a super great finished product. We already got our artists pictures back for the cover. We were kind of worried about that because she wasn't replying to us at the time. But it's Emerald Barkley. If anybody wants to look that up on Instagram, for sure. She has some really cool art. I thought it was inspired by Georgia O'Keeffe because it was like flowers and skulls, but we asked her and she didn't know who Georgia O'Keeffe was. So I guess I'm weird for for knowing old lady artists. But yeah.
What do you hope everyone takes away after they've been to the site in general to read reviews or anything like that, man? What do you hope they get from it?
I kind of just hope they get that, like, I feel like the people that follow that counterculture sometimes get into the mindset of like they're alone, you know, just because they get kind of thrown to the wayside by the general public just because they have a weirder aesthetic or they like strange things that make people uncomfortable or something like that, you know, because not everybody likes the screaming and the gore and the blood and the horror and whatnot, and the dark vibes. But I think once you get on the website and you see people coming out with material like that, it's one big, cool, darker aesthetic. You kind of feel more comfortable, you know, and like more comfortable in your own skin. Just like when you go to a show, like you see all those people that are kind of similar to you that you don't see in everyday life, and you're like, damn, dude, that's a lot of fucking people that are like me, I guess.
So what band has impressed you the most that's had an article featured in Forum Obscura, man? What band has caught you by surprise? Caught you by surprise, I should say.
There are some bands that I would listen to on my work speakers because I work at a smoke shop and we have some like pretty subpar surround sound speakers in there going on. So I'll put it on just like if they sent it to me, I'd listen to it and like it wouldn't blow me away just because those speakers absolutely suck. I'll go home and like throw on my headphones, be like, okay, like let me give this another listen. The first initial listen like threw me off, of course, just because it didn't sound good on those speakers. It's like, okay, let me try this again. It's like, this sounds fucking great, dude. Like those surround sound speakers totally butchered it. It became actually like some of my more favorite music to listen to. That's, I would say Snake Healer would be, because I listened to them on the surround sound speakers and the surround sound speakers tore it up. I don't know what it did, but it didn't sound good. And then when I got home and I put it on, I was like, what is this? This is not the same music, man. It's like super weird, eerie, and it has a dark vibe to it. And he has this super cool backstory to his band too. And he's doing a solo project right now, which I think is even more amazing. I think the solo projects are more some of my favorites.
I know you have a lot of music, man, still this day, but do you have a go-to album or a song that you find yourself going back to and listening to from time to time that you can't kick out, man? You have to listen to it eventually.
Yeah. A lot of Talking Head songs, actually.
Oh, wow.
Like that funky disco sound, you know, Burning Down the House by the Talking Heads. For sure. I listen to that song a lot. It just fires me up.
I actually saw that, heard it actually yesterday in Revenge of the Nerds.
Nice.
Love Revenge of the Nerds.
That's
Love
a good movie.
It is. And for anybody who's not saw it, go watch it and you'll thank me and Riley for watching it. At least I think you will. I think you all dig it.
And it has a good soundtrack. I mean, Talking Heads is great.
Nerds. Ogre. Oh God. Just good stuff. Good comedy, man. Just a good, funny movie. And
wasn't that like the iconic panty raid scene is from Revenge of the Nerds too?
Yep.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, guy named Booger and so good. So good stuff. Classic 80s movies, man. So we're both part of Metal Inc., man. So how's it feel to be part of this group?
It's crazy. Like I don't want to get too deep, of course, but like before this year, I was kind of like lost, you know, like I was struggling a lot with addiction and whatnot. And like I kind of like lost my way with the writing and stuff. And I just wasn't like creating anything, just kind of like existing.
Mhm.
And my uncle asked me to start helping, and it really like lit that fire in me again and helped me get going. And we got involved with Metal Inc. And at first I didn't know what to think. And I just saw how much activity was in there and how many bands we had to review. And like, it's kind of like you can't see the horizon on that one, it just keeps on going. Like, I don't feel like I'll be able to get through every single Metal Inc. band before we start getting more that I can review,
Yeah, there's several bands that I need to get on BODS Mayhem Hour, but I'm so far back that I just eventually they will be on here. It's just I have to meet these deadlines and get these out, first, these other ones, and they will be on here. Trust me, they will be. So
right. I mean, so many bands have other great albums that I want to review, like The Cage in Your Head. I've already reviewed one of his, but my brother Damien is really good too, and I want to review that one. But it's like I can't go back and review someone that I just reviewed when there's like this sea of bands in Metal Inc. that I could possibly review as a new one. You know?
Riley, how can anybody, if they want their stuff reviewed or just be a part of Forum Obscura, how can they do that possibly?
Well, you can contact Jason at forumobscura.com via email, or you can contact Riley at forumobscura.com via email. You can also hit up Forum Obscura on Instagram. We've stopped using Facebook just because we don't get views there anymore. I feel like most of our website clicks aren't coming from Facebook, so we're just kind of off of it. We have a pinned post on there saying we won't be back, and to see us on Instagram and our website so we can focus more on that. So
before I let you go, would you care to do a promo for my show?
Yeah, man, definitely. Hey, this is Riley Green from Forum Obscura, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Everybody stick around. We got some great stuff coming up. You only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour. Please go check out our Facebook page. It has our podcast link and our YouTube link. And please subscribe to the YouTube link because we got a lot of stuff on there. And I know there's a lot of stuff on there that you guys and gals will love. Check out Forum Obscura. Go and check out their articles. You won't be disappointed. And Riley, my man, you have nothing but total support on here. And anytime you want back on here, just let me know.
Oh, yeah, man. Appreciate it.
You're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.